Online Learning Welcome Back event. Welcome to the 25-26 school year. It is going to be a great year. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Janae Smith. I'm the Director of Online Learning. And joining with me today, we have our online kinder through 8th grade coordinator, Miss Jennifer Tatum, and our online high school coordinator, Miss Michelle Woods, joining us as well. We are going to go ahead and go through all things online, our online program here at Compass. Today's session will apply to all online grades K through 12. And then we have our online K through 8 weeks of welcome this afternoon, and our online high school weeks of welcome tomorrow. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump on in to our presentation. So today, our first thing that we do always here at Compass is we always want to revisit our mission and vision. And our mission and vision really truly guide everything that we do here at Compass Charter Schools. And especially in our online learning program, we really strive to make sure that it is not just a prescriptive online program that your scholars are participating in, and that, but that we're really able to personalize their learning. And it fits with our mission to inspire and develop innovative, creative, and self-directed learners, one scholar at a time. And our vision to create an innovative, collaborative learning environment that supports the diverse needs and goals of each of our scholars and nurtures a love for learning and prepares them for future success. Along with our mission and vision, our Arctic values are what we strive to exemplify as a teaching staff, but also we ensure that our scholars are also following these values that include achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication. On the agenda today, we are going to go over, like I mentioned earlier, our online learning program expectations, and then we're also going to dive into some of our support departments and what they do here at Compass Charter School. And those support departments include our academic support team, our assessments team, all things we need to know about AVID, our counseling department, engagement department, IT, our scholar community advocate, special education, and then we'll go over what the next steps are for this week to make sure that your scholar and you have everything you need to start the school year off on August 27th. So like I mentioned earlier, my name is Janae Smith. I'm the Director of Online Learning here at Compass Charter Schools. And then we have Miss Jennifer Tatum, who is our online K-8 coordinator, and Miss Michelle Woods, who is our online high school coordinator. And Miss Woods and Miss Tatum, they lead our team of our highly qualified online staff. Each of our online staff in our K-8 program are experts within their fields, have those grade level expertise, and are able to guide all of our scholars, especially through their choice boards and utilizing our universal design for learning. Our online high school teachers are equipped with often multiple teaching credentials, but definitely those single subject teaching credentials, which make them experts in their field and subjects. So a quick overview of what our online learning program is all about. At Compass, every scholar is paired with a highly qualified teacher who provides the direct instruction and ongoing support throughout the school year. We often say in our online program, we provide the direct instruction, the more teaching specifically from the teacher with the support with the parent at home to make sure, we call you the eyes on the ground there, to make sure that scholars are participating and are engaged. So with this partnership between the teacher, scholar, and the learning coach, we're able to create a strong foundation for learning. And in a moment, we'll dive into the key policies, documents, and roles that make our online program run smoothly. So our online learning program is designed to be rigorous while still being engaging and flexible. To do that, we use award-winning curriculum called Accelerate Education. And the reason, one of the big reasons we continue to use Accelerate Education, besides the fact that it is rigorous and gets updated often to ensure that it is in alignment with all of the California teaching standards, it also is highly customizable by the teachers, even down to a single scholar. And so being able to provide that support to a single scholar, provide choice boards for scholar choice, and encourage project-based learning. The Accelerate Education has proven to be a really great curriculum for our scholars to use. And then along with that, we have our supplemental materials. So in grades K through 8, those supplemental materials are sent out by grade level. And in high school, those supplemental materials are sent out by subject. And then, of course, along with Accelerate Education and the supplemental materials, we have those live virtual learning labs that are by content, and then those Q&A sessions for Q&A office hours for online high school, and those fun combined learning labs for elementary school scholars. And of course, as scholars need, we can provide one-on-one small group support to ensure scholars are reaching their academic goals. Across all of this, our Compass teachers, they weave in school-wide AVID strategies, which are research-based proven learning strategies that help our scholars thrive. And like I said, we will share a little more about AVID with you in a few minutes. So like I mentioned before, at Compass, we're proud to utilize the Accelerate Education curriculum. It is WASC accredited, A through G College Board approved for online high school courses, and Accelerate Education is a ESSA Tier 3 level curriculum, which means that it focuses on those highly rigorous reading standards to ensure that our scholars are reading, writing, and are achieving all of those goals and meeting the standards. It is also approved by Quality Matters, which qualifies and audits all of the online curriculum from the curriculum developers to make sure it is meeting all of the standards that align with the national standards for quality online instruction. So like I mentioned earlier, along with our Accelerate Education, to further personalize learning for online scholars, the online teachers have created supplemental material lists, and they are sent directly to our families. Now, thank you for all of those of you who have worked really hard to get those master agreements signed and returned. Because we have those master agreements signed and returned, we're able to start ordering all those supplemental materials. You'll start to see those be delivered this week. And so be on the lookout. So they'll be coming from Lakeshore, they'll be coming from Amazon, and they'll be coming from Amazon. Lakeshore for our scholars in grades K through 5, Amazon for all scholars grades K through 12, and our elementary scholars in grades K through 8 will also be receiving those Accelerate Education workbooks for English language arts and math. And they're all considered, for the most part, our supplementals are considered non-consumable and are considered consumable, but any non-consumables, your supervising teacher will send you all that information in case you withdraw or at the end of the year to return those materials. And you can find our supplemental material list on our website under our online learning page. And here is a glimpse into what our scholars learning looks like in our online learning program. By aligning our live synchronous learning labs with Accelerate Education curriculum, our scholars at Compass are consistently achieving their academic goals and have shown growth in proficiency on both their state and internal benchmarks. And here you can see some of the great options that scholars have in our online learning program to showcase their learning. It's not just being on a computer and submitting lessons and quizzes and whatnot in the online learning program. By providing scholars choice and focusing on alternative assessments and project-based learning, our scholars really do get to choose how they want to showcase their learning for their teachers. And if you'd like to see more highlights and a closer look on what our scholars are learning, you can visit our superintendent's page on our website. That is where all of our Compass Chronicle newsletters are housed, and we love to highlight and showcase all that scholar learning within our newsletter that goes out quarterly. Okay, now we're going to dive into some of the logistics, the nitty-gritty. Those of you with signed master agreements, this is referred to in your master agreement, and these are just the policy procedures. So we're all on the same page going into this school year. So here at Compass, attendance looks a little different than a traditional classroom. So instead of teachers marking a scholar present because they're sitting at a desk, we track attendance through the scholar activity log and scholar activity in Accelerate Education. So by the end of the week, but learning coaches and scholars can go in every day and select the subjects they worked in the Parent Scholar Portal in that learning log. So we have attendance through the learning log, the work that they submit in Accelerate Education, that gets captured, attendance in synchronous instruction, the learning labs. If scholars qualify for tutoring, it qualifies them for tutoring and helps to make sure that we're capturing every piece of attendance. Another critical piece of attendance, though, is the supervising teacher has to do what we call a time value evaluation. So the work that is submitted at the end of the learning period, the teacher has to say, okay, the work that's submitted also is equivalent to a certain percentage of attendance. So make sure that your scholar is turning in that work every day if it's assigned, and on those due dates, and we'll go into more details on when those due dates are. And if you have any questions or you have questions about work or work submitted, those monthly connection meetings with the supervising teacher are really critical. So keep doing those daily learning logs. Make sure your scholars, make sure you're turning those assignments, attending your connection meetings. That way we can ensure your scholar is engaged and learning. Like I said, each learning period, scholars have their assigned work. So in Accelerate Education, you'll see a handy to-do list and a calendar that will make it easy to track daily assignments. Also in Accelerate Education, the gradebook, talks to the Parent Scholar Portal and School Pathways. It bridges overnight, so you can get that information. So just know that any work completed on a Monday, you won't see in the Parent Scholar Portal till Tuesday. But that gradebook does align in the Parent Scholar Portal with the Accelerate Education gradebook. You can also work closely with your supervising teacher to know exactly what's expected each learning period. At the start of each learning period, teachers can send out an assignment work record. So if you're needing an additional support besides the to-do list and the calendar, reach out to your supervising teacher. The most important thing is making sure that assignments are completed on time. This keeps your scholar on pace and sets them up for success. And as a reminder, your supervising teacher is always available to answer questions to make sure that you and your scholar have everything that you need. Now, let's talk about Learning Showcase, the work samples that are expected for our online learning scholars. First off, I wanted to say thank you to all of our families who worked on this effort last year. This is something that has happened with some updated legislation from the California Board of Education. So one of the things that have to happen is in the Student Scholar Portal, we have to have that work sample uploaded. Now in K-5, your teachers went ahead and grabbed those from those courses, but in grades 6 through 12, we need scholars to showcase their learning. Now, how would you determine what is supposed to be uploaded in the Parent Scholar Portal from Accelerate Education? Many of your teachers have labeled the assignment. So it will say work sample qualifier or use this as a work sample. but we need one work sample from one subject, from every subject, each learning period uploaded to the Parent Scholar portal for grades 6 through 12. Now, your supervising teacher during those homeroom classes, grades 6 through 12, will help you and will review how to do this. And then we'll share out your teacher will share out those due dates too when we want to see all that work uploaded. Typically, it is the Friday before the end of the month. So it's usually, the third Friday of the month. We want all of the work. We want you to highlight and showcase the awesome work that you've done in Accelerate Education and drop those into the gradebook in the Parent Scholar portal. And more information will come from your supervising teacher, or if you need a review or refresher from last year, your supervising teacher can provide that review. Okay, and to make sure scholars are engaged and making steady progress, there are a few key indicators that we look at each period, learning period. First, we check attendance. If a scholar misses more than 10% of the time over 4 continuous weeks, that is a red flag that they're falling behind. So you'll be getting, if a scholar is absent 2 days, the learning coach and the scholar will get a notice saying, hey, your scholar missed a couple days. The key to that is communication. So if your scholar missed a couple days, just reaching out to your supervising teacher and let them know, oh, we were sick, we're getting caught up, or we had an issue with our internet, but we're back online and we're getting caught up, all of those things. So it really is just to open that communication. However, if those continue and the scholar is absent, then we're going to have to follow our tiered re-engagement process. We also look at participation in those live synchronous sessions, and those are based on California legislation AB 130, and those are particular for each grade level. So grades K through 3 should be attending half of their live, every scholar should be attending at least half of their live synchronous sessions that their teacher is providing. So that includes TK or K through 3 should be attending every day, and then grades 4 through 8 should be attending all their learning labs. But the requirement is they need to be attending live synchronous instruction plus live engagement. And then high school, we want them in their learning labs, but they need to make sure they're attending homeroom each week with their supervising teacher. Along with that, we need to make sure that learning coaches that you're continuing to fill out that daily learning log in the Parent Scholar portal, and that if your scholar is invited to MTSS intervention tutoring, that they're attending those each week. And then another indicator is that for our engagement evaluation is the scholar fails to make satisfactory academic progress. So like I was saying, if scholars aren't meeting those due dates, if scholars are struggling to stay on pace, if the work they're turning in isn't getting passing grades, we may have to do that engagement evaluation. Now, there could be scholars that are attending and doing all the things and they're just struggling. That's when we want to make sure that we're having those conversations and utilizing those connection meetings to discuss scholar progress and additional supports that may help scholars achieve their academic goals. So by keeping up with attendance, daily work, and live sessions, scholars set themselves up for success. And please know that we're here to support you and your scholar every step of the way. We want your scholar to be successful, and we want to have that continued partnership with our learning coach and scholars to help them achieve those goals. So to review scholar expectations, first, scholars are expected to attend, like I mentioned, all those live sessions, learning labs, MTSS tutoring. If your scholar has an IEP, SAI tutoring, all of those IEP related services. They should also complete and submit their assignments daily and Accelerate Education. And then we encourage all of our scholars to communicate proactively. So if they have questions about an assignment or if they're struggling with something, that they're reaching out to their teachers They're attending Q&A office hours. They're attending Learning Labs live sessions to ensure that they have a clear understanding of everything that they need to be successful. Another key habit is creating a daily schedule, and having that routine not only helps with time management, but it also helps build strong habits that will benefit our scholars, not only in school, but also in the future. So general guide for how much time scholars should be expected each day in their in Accelerate Education. K through 5, we're expecting 1 to 2 hours throughout the day, and that can be broken up in chunks, especially for those kinders. They might only be able to sit for 15 minutes, but that's okay. Just break it up, create that schedule throughout the day that helps them be able to move around, but also focus on some of that learning. Middle school, we expect around 3 to 4 hours daily in Accelerate Education, and then high school, at least 4 to 5 hours in Accelerate Education. And then this all depends on scholars' need and ability. Sometimes it could be a little more, especially if scholars find themselves getting behind and they need to work on getting caught up. All of our scholars are expected to follow our Compass Arctic values, which guide how we treat each other and help create a positive, respectful learning community. And scholars must participate in those required assessments. So the STAR benchmark assessments, they're going to be, scholars have to complete those at the beginning of the year and throughout the school year. And we want our scholars to participate in our state testing like CASP and the physical fitness tests when applicable for their grade level. By meeting these expectations, scholars set themselves up for success and make the very most of their learning experience here at Compass. Okay, Learning Labs. So let's dive into what Learning Labs are all about. Learning Labs are first off structured by core content. So Learning Labs are live instructional lessons that are provided by the content teacher. In grades K through 5, you'll have specific subject focused Learning Labs. For instance, like if you're in 4th grade with Miss Grimes, she'll have a 4th grade Learning Lab that focuses on reading and language arts. And so forth. Teachers will share the days and times for their Learning Labs, and scholars can also add those Learning Lab information to their Google Calendar through their Compass Gmail account to make it easier. Make sure that scholars that you're logged into your Compass email, that is how you're going to be able to access your Learning Labs through Zoom. And during the Learning Labs, we use research-based strategies such as AVID, learning and teaching strategies to support instruction and increase scholar engagement. In addition, those supplemental materials, many of those kits that are sent to scholars are also sent to enhance their Learning Lab engagement, and they'll be using some of those materials during Learning Labs. Our live virtual instruction is through multiple means. That includes Learning Labs, Q&A office hours, and they are really critical to providing the interaction and engagement opportunities for our scholars, not only to engage with their teacher, but also with their peers. Oh, there we go. And like I was mentioning, in addition to those content-specific Learning Lab, we have our online or our Q&A office hours for grades 6 through 12. And this is where scholars can come in and get support, ask specific questions as they need. And this is a time dedicated for scholars to just pop in if they wanted to even work on an assignment just with their teacher, in a Zoom room. And then as they're working, ask questions, they could do that as well. That they really are individualized, and scholars can ask those individual questions and receive individual help. This time can also be used for small group instruction, and the teacher can, you may even send out an invite for a Q&A session for scholars to attend to get some of that small group instruction on a particular topic. Along with that, in our online high school, during the teachers have their Q&A office hours. That's also where scholars can complete the proctored midterm and final exams to meet the A through G requirement for those A through G courses that they are enrolled. In addition to that, our learning labs and our online Q&A office hours, like I mentioned, our academic support team provides MTSS intervention tutoring for scholars who qualify. And we determine who is invited to those intervention tutoring sessions based on those STAR benchmark assessments, because the intervention sessions are targeted to meet the scholars' gaps in their learning that are determined through the STAR benchmark assessments. And by participating in these sessions, whether it's to get help with specific questions, focusing on areas of need in small groups, or completing proctoring requirements, they are a valuable resource for scholars to make sure that they are getting all the support that they need. And I mentioned our online high school A through G courses. So A through G courses are rigorous college prep classes that help scholars prepare for admission to colleges and universities. So each scholar will follow the pacing guide within the course, and the guide lays out the assignments and the due dates, and that is found on the calendar or the scholar's to-do list in Accelerate Education. All scholars are required to attend proctored exams. Now, in some courses, scholars can choose to do a proctored exam, or they can choose project-based learning assessments. And in that case, they will make arrangements with their teacher to present those projects to their teacher or their class to show their learning. But it's important to attend the weekly learning labs and Q&A support sessions. Those are really key when we're looking at these, when scholars are enrolled in these rigorous A through G courses, because they do provide that extra support and help, and really help scholars get those questions answered as they need. And these expectations are in place to support the scholar's success and ensure college readiness. So that is a very quick overview of all things online learning. We're going to go ahead and dive into the support departments here at Compass Charter Schools. We'll cover departments such as our academic support, counseling, special education engagement, and IT. And each of these support departments are dedicated to providing resources and assistance needed to scholar success. These teams work together to ensure a well-rounded educational experience. So as we go through each department, consider how you can leverage their support to help your scholar thrive this school year. We'll start with our academic support team. So our academic support team is overseen by our Director of Academic Support, Ms. Erin Smith, no relation. But this department works at supporting scholars through scholars with who have 504 educational plans, scholars who are emergent multilingual learners, and our MTSS framework for intervention. This department also oversees and helps facilitate what we call the scholar support team process. So like I mentioned earlier, if your scholar is working really, really hard and they're still struggling, what we can start is an SST process, a support team process, which brings the scholar and the learning coach, the teacher, and the whole team together, so we can look at some of the needs of the individual scholar and how to best support them, put in a support plan, and see how that plan supports scholar learning and helps them achieve their goals. And like I mentioned, our Scholar Success Coordinator, Ms. Mayer, she oversees the MTSS framework, which is for multi-tiered system of support. And it offers school-wide behavioral, social, emotional, and academic support for scholars and the goal is to address it prior to a problem arising. Along with our MTSS tutors, along with that, we have our MTSS tutors, and they provide English and math interventions to scholars who need that support and are identified as needing Tier 2 and Tier 3 support through that STAR benchmark assessment. Along with the tutors, our resource specialists provide more in-depth look at the foundational skills at the Tier 2 level. And our Scholar Support Coordinator, Ms. Lothringer, actually, I think she had a name change last school year. But she helps support all of our scholars who are needing that scholar support team. But she also manages those scholars with 504 educational plans. So if you have a scholar who has a 504 educational plan, you can reach out to her, reach out to your supervising teacher to make sure that the plan is meeting your scholar's need. And then our emergent multilingual support coordinator, Ms. Saez, she helps with all the initial identifications of our emergent multilingual scholars and works with our assessment team to support the initial and summative LPAC assessments, the reclassification process or RFEP for scholars who have are able to reclassify from that emergent multilingual indicator. And then she manages our Lexia online program that is our designated ELD, English Language Development curriculum here at Compass. So if you want to learn more about this, you can join the Scholar Success Support Department open house, which is going to be on Monday, August 25th at 10 a.m. And then our English Language Support Department for our emergent multilinguals scholars will be Monday, August 25th at 1 o'clock. Okay, and our assessment department comprises of our assessment and data coordinator, Miss Beth Sneed, who oversees our assessment and data specialists, Miss Badasco and Mr. Navaretti, and our assessment TOSA, our teacher on assignment, Miss Angelo, who will be hosting weekly CAS prep starting 6 to 8 weeks before the CAS window opens in the spring. So be on the lookout for information from this team to help with that test prep. And scholars will participate in at least 2 types of academic assessments during the school year based on grade level. So each scholar's first assignment of the school year is going to be taking the STAR Benchmark Diagnostic Assessment. And like I mentioned, this assessment is used to gauge scholar where they are in their learning and helps us as a team identify if there's additional support needed. We use STAR Renaissance assessments as our diagnostic benchmark and summative internal assessments during the school year. STAR Math is for grades 1 through 12, and STAR Early Literacy will be administered to scholars in grades TK through 2. And then reading will be administered to scholars in grades 3 through 12. So using STAR this fall includes our STAR proctoring sessions. And so when scholars complete the STAR benchmark assessment, they'll join the teacher's Q&A session, homeroom, and the teachers will be sending out all of this information and when this is going to be proctored on the first day of school. This team also oversees our SBAC state testing that is offered once a year, and it's for scholars in grades 3 through 8 and grade 11. And this is used to report our school's achievement in math, ELA, and college and career readiness. This data is an important indicator for guiding school improvement and charter renewal. So every eligible scholars' participation proves helpful to continue our school's existence because per updated California legislation, our authorizing districts have to can only authorize us based on certain scores from our state testing. So for more information, though, on assessments, all things assessments, join our assessment team and assessment open house on Monday, August 25th at 1 p.m. and for their open house, and you can learn even more about our assessment department. And I've mentioned AVID multiple times. So we are excited that we offer AVID to all of our scholars in grades 6th, 7th, and 8th, and AVID 1 and 2 for our high school scholars. Along with the AVID course that scholars can choose for electives, all supervising teachers implement AVID instructional strategies school-wide in those learning labs, and maybe you'll see some of those strategies outlined in the course, such as AVID focus notes that will help scholars prepare for assessments and showcase their learning. AVID in K-12 will focus on reading and writing, as well as developing necessary habits of mind for scholars to be successful. And these academic supports from AVID include study skills, organization, goal setting, time management, and making connections to academic accountability and achievement. And so to learn more about AVID and to enroll in the AVID elective, if your scholar is interested in grades 6 through 12, please contact your supervising teacher. But also, if you would like to sign up for this class, reach out to your scholar's counselor, and we can do a elective course change. And speaking of your scholars counselors, so our counseling department is supported by our Director of Counseling Services, Ms. Steffen, and our counselors work with scholars in grades 6 through 12 in a three-pronged developmental approach in academics, social emotional learning, and college and career readiness. Our college and career readiness counselors, we have two now, work with scholars based upon charter with Ms. Mejia, who supports scholars in Compass Charter Schools of LA, and Ms. Olson, who supports scholars in Compass Charter Schools of San Diego and YOLO. So our counselors are vital members of our scholars educational team, and they play an integral role in your scholars' academic, social emotional, and college and career development. Counselors can support your scholars with academic planning, course scheduling, goal setting, time and organizational management, coping skills, overcoming obstacles, college and career readiness, post-secondary planning, and concurrent enrollment and work permits. Good to know for all of our families, and especially our high schoolers, if you need a work permit or if you want to do concurrent enrollment, Ms. Mejia or Ms. Olson are going to be your go-to college and career counselors who can help you with that process. The goal of the counseling department is to advocate for each scholar and to help them achieve success. And our team of counselors provide counseling curriculum on a weekly basis in counseling learning labs and in small groups. So to find out more about our counseling department, please join us Friday, October 22nd at 10 a.m. for the counseling department open house. Next, I'd like to share briefly about our engagement department, which is led by our Director of Scholar Engagement, Miss Rebecca McAlpine, and she's supported by Miss Danielle Del Negro and Miss Christina Vert. Now, our engagement department is crucial to your scholar really having a really full and rich experience here at Compass Charter School. They create activities that foster connectiveness and build community. So tangible ways that bring our mission and bring to life our mission are that they are designing and creating, planning, implementing, and managing events that foster community and support scholar retention. So they want to continue with this year after year. Our engagement events and offerings include, but are not limited to, virtual field trips, our different events, virtual scholar workshops, scholar recognition, scholar celebrations, such as graduation, promotion, back to school days, virtual community meetups, Learning Coach Academy, scholar clubs, and so much more. They are a tiny but mighty team that provides a rich experience for all of our scholars. So they get a really holistic experience here at Compass Charter Schools. We believe in providing engaging and meaningful opportunities to all of our scholars and families here at Compass. Will really help solidify their learning and build that community. And our entire staff contributes to ensuring that the engagement department offerings come to life. So if you want to learn even more about our engagement department, their open house is going to be Friday, the 22nd. And that they'll be able to dive into at 1 o'clock, excuse me, they'll be able to dive into even more information about what they offer. And don't forget, save the date, Friday, September 12th is going to be our back to school picnics. So be on the lookout for that information. Okay, and our IT department. So we have an amazing IT department at Compass Charter Schools. It is led by our Director of Technology and Innovation, Ms. Mueller, and she is assisted by Miss Marco. I'm going to say his name wrong right now. Italiano, there we go. He is our help desk technician. So when you submit those help desk tickets, those go straight to him. And then we have Mr. Aguilar, who is our systems administrator, and he helps make sure everything runs smoothly on the back end of all of our systems. In our IT department, there are some technical best practices that will be beneficial for all of our Compass families to ensure that you don't have any technical difficulties getting in the way of your scholar success. The IT department recommends that you always install updates as prompted to help with security performance. If you have our Chromebook from Compass Charter School, or you're new and you'll be receiving a Chromebook from Compass Charter Schools, make sure that when those pop up that you're always doing and installing those updates. And that way we make sure that your computer is running efficiently. Also, you should reboot weekly to help with audio problems and error messages. Lastly, our IT department wants to emphasize that you do not attempt to open links or attachments unless you are sure of the sender, or and make sure you do not provide anybody your login information. The IT department will also be sending some important links through the chat, our school pathways login, class link, and the link. Oh, there we go. We'll also be sending sorry, I'm struggling with here. There we go. We'll also be sending important links through the chat that will link to our school pathways, class link, and the Compass IT support. Last year, though, we were able to launch our multi-factor authentication, Clever. So it will probably have you log in since the summer is wrapping up. But if you haven't logged in during the summer, it will have you log in again. And that is to make sure that our scholars are safe. Also, through Clever, that's where all the apps are. So your scholars should be logging in through school pathways through Clever, STAR, Renaissance for the benchmark assessments through Clever, and a lot of those other pieces, such as scholars in grades K through 8. Their iExcel login will also be through Clever. For more information from our IT department, please join our IT open house, which is Thursday, August 21st at 10 a.m. And we have Miss Carla Gonzalez, who is our scholar community advocate, and she is part of the operations department here at Compass, and she is the liaison between the Compass staff, scholars, families, and community agencies. She maintains cross-program collaborations with community agencies and develops community partnerships to provide services for family and youth experiencing homelessness or at risk for homelessness. And she will link those families to resources they need within the community. And so the Scholar Community Advocate also works with our foster youth and foster families. And she is the main contact for new and current military families, providing additional supports and resources. So if you find that you're in need of these resources, you can reach out directly to Ms. Gonzalez, or you can just work with your supervising teacher. Ms. Gonzalez and supervising teachers work closely to ensure families have those community resources they need. And our special education department is led by Dr. Barbara Wolford. She's our director of special education. We have our special education coordinators, Ms. Jeffrey and Ms. Sharma. And this year, we're very excited to share that we have our special education speech language pathologist coordinator, Ms. Cameron, and she will be coordinating and ensuring that our scholars who need speech therapy will be able to provided that service here from Compass staff. It's a huge gain for our Compass family and our Compass scholars having Ms. Cameron on this year. And along with them, we have 15 specialized academic instructors, 2 instructional aides, and a program specialist, plus 2 technicians who support our scholars with special education service needs who are attending Compass Charter Schools. And at Compass Charter Schools, our scholars with IEPs, they are general education scholars who have IEP services to support their learning. All scholars are assigned to a general education supervising teacher. Our team of specialized academic instructors demonstrate the capacity to provide high quality special education services and to serve scholars who need that service based on their IEP. Compass Charter Schools provides all eligible children with free public education that meet their individual needs. And as a learning coach, your role is to be an active participant by working with our educational specialist and related services providers to plan and monitor your scholar's unique program. Learning coach engagement is imperative to the program's success. And at Compass Charter School, we really welcome your participation, especially during those IEP meetings, ensuring your scholar gets to their services, all of those great things. And for more details regarding special education at Compass Charter School, please join the Special Education Department open house on Thursday, August 21st at 1 p.m. Okay, so what is next? Next, be sure to attend your scholars' Weeks of Welcome, WOW, orientations this week. Our online learning program orientation for scholars in grades K through 8 will be today, August 18th at 1 o'clock. And our online learning program orientation for scholars in grades 9 through 12 will be tomorrow, Tuesday, August 19th at 1 o'clock. You'll use the same link as today to join our WOW presentations. During our WOW orientations, we will be sharing our welcome packet that includes the virtual back to school list with everything you'll need to do to be prepared for the upcoming school year. So make sure to go through your welcome packet and the virtual back to school list before the first day of school on August 27th. And as mentioned previously, join our WOW open houses for more details, for more detailed information on our program, our departments and programs in the upcoming days. And here, let's take a moment and we'll look at the WOW schedule together. So this first week is all about building excitement and connection. We have our welcome back events, orientations, special open houses hosted by our departments and programs. These are great opportunities for our families to meet the staff, ask questions, and really feel truly welcome back to be included in our Compass community. Then as we move into week 2, the focus shifts towards giving our families the tools they need for a strong start. So our assessment, scholar success, and EL departments have prepared some fantastic sessions designed to share helpful information and resources. The goal is to make sure every scholar feels supported and ready to shine as we start the new school year. Once again, we're excited to announce that the Scholar Leadership Council is now accepting new applicants. This is a fantastic opportunity for scholars to get involved and develop leadership skills and have a voice in school policy initiatives. So if your scholar is interested, or scholars, if you're interested, you can fill out an application that will be shared in the chat. And we encourage your scholar, and we encourage you scholars to apply today and become part of this impactful group. It's a great way to also make connections with other scholars here at Compass Charter School and work directly with our superintendent, Miss Elizabeth Brenner. Parents, we're also excited to share that the Parent Advisory Council is accepting new applicants. This is a great opportunity for parents to get involved, share their insights, and contribute to the direction of our school community. So parents, if you're interested in joining, please reach out to Ms. Brenner, who is our superintendent CEO, for more details, and apply today and take an active role in shaping the school's future and helping to provide critical feedback that really does help drive change here in the organization. And don't forget to follow us. We're active on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and our website. Make sure that you have all those great links bookmarked so you know where to get the latest and greatest news and information from Compass Charter Schools. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to reach out directly to me. And if for some reason I don't have the answer, I will make sure I get you the answer, and we can ensure that you and your scholar and scholars, that you have a successful year here at Compass Charter Schools. Our scholars here are amazing. They do wonderful things, and I cannot wait to see what they accomplish this school year. So thank you for coming today. And we look forward to seeing you at all the weeks of welcome this week and next, and all the scholars back on August 27th.